Great. Yeah. So, we're excited to get going here. As Dennis mentioned, there is a chat. There's then a Q&A with Riverside, the platform we're using for this. So use the chat to pose any questions. Everyone is in listening mode, and we will do our best to answer all the questions that come through. We'll save it for the end. So the first part of the webinar, we'll do a lot of the presentation, and then happy to answer any questions that the participants have at the end of the presentation. Let's give it just a couple more minutes, and then we can get going. I see a lot of familiar.
I just want to. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Names here. Oh no, I was just saying a lot of familiar names here. So excited to reconnect with a lot of folks from the past.
Great, guys, and I just want to add, we're going to talk largely about, this whole thing is about how we're using AI to gain market share in lending. And we'll go through a bit of an introduction, but we've been working with AI tools for years now, and really the market has exploded. And we find that companies who are adopting these tools are growing rapidly, they're spending less on personnel, and they're just generating more conversations. And so I'm sure that each of you have different experiences. Maybe some of you are using ChatGPT, maybe some of you are using email tools, whatever it might be. If you just let us know, what questions that you have that we could start targeting or we could address as we move through the short presentation, or questions specifically about platforms so that we can be a resource for you guys. And we'd love to be able to connect later so that we can at least brainstorm and share kind of like what our experience has been with AI and how we can help you use that in business. And I think that's what you'll catch probably through the next few slides and the demos that we're going to do today.
Great. All right, let's go ahead and get going. Dennis, can you share your slides?
Yeah.
So while we're pulling up the slides, I'm Nam, and I know a lot of the names here who are joined us today. With me is Dennis Lee, who's the co-founder of ForwardFlow. ForwardFlow is an agentic AI platform provider, everything from voice to SMS to email to CRM, and maybe more importantly, integration points, or just as importantly, integration points and connectivity with a lot of different solutions that we all use or should be using in the lending space. Been around for 3 years now, I guess. ForwardFlow has 3 years and sounds like 3 years and 7 months.
3 hard-fought, well-earned years. Yeah. And we're new to the space, but who in the AI space isn't new?
Well, in AI terms, that's even crazier than dog years because everything's happening so fast. But the interesting thing that ForwardFlow has done is they started out in the residential real estate space, helping real estate agents and teams, a lot of it with the agentic AI voice. And during that time, I think they've made over 500,000 phone calls on behalf of real estate agents to their database of clients, whether it was sellers, buyers, or referral partners. So they have a lot of data behind them, and in terms of how AI is used, especially for voice. You mentioned some conversion stats earlier, Dennis. Can you kind of talk about that real quick?
Yeah, I'll bring that up. Previous to this company, I founded another company called HiIQ. And so we did the same thing. It was voice AI solutions, and we deployed over 1 million phone calls in fencing, legal, medical. And so we've used AI in a lot of different situations. And across all the data that we've gathered, we've found that humans, we have some clients who have millions of records. We have one particular large lending client who also has millions of records. And we know the call stats for every single one of those people. We know that the answer rate or the conversation rate or the conversion rate for all the conversations across salespeople and AI is about 3%. And I just want to reiterate that over millions of phone call records, we have found that the average conversion rate for sales is 3.6% for our AI, and anywhere from 3 to 10%, but on average, it's about 3% for human conversion. And so really the benefit that AI brings is that it can do the same thing that a human can do at scale. It's never going to beat a high quality professional as far as like a person who knows your product, and if they're talking to you, there's no way that an AI is going to beat that. But also, if you're making phone calls all throughout the day, the likelihood that you're going to get somebody on the phone is not high, and you can do it all for an entire hour and maybe get one person on the phone. And so the rest of this presentation is really just going to be about detailing what the other tools are that we have that will allow you to find, reach, and retain. So that more conversations is more business.
Great. The other point too, that even though the conversion is the same, the fact is that you could do 3,000 calls in a week versus 50 or 100 as a human. So I think that's an important point that I know we used in a previous company that I was with, and a number of people participating today were also with. It's just the ability to scale it up. So let's see. Oh, next slide. Let's jump over to some high-level points here. So the first one, 21x, what does that mean? It's pertaining to the response time for a lead. So you're 21 times more likely to get a qualify or to qualify a lead if you reach out to them within 5 minutes instead of 30, which is pretty incredible. Just 5 minutes versus 30. 30 minutes, a lot of people think that's fast. I see a lot of websites that I go to where they'll promote, hey, we'll get back to you within a day as like the highlight. And with everything, with the advancement of AI and responsiveness, the metric is no longer hours. It's not even 30 minutes. So you really need to have a response time that is sub 10%. Otherwise, you're going to lose the deal to somebody else, or you lose the opportunity. The projected AI in lending market is 109 billion. This is as of 2024, I believe. It's projected to reach 2 trillion by 2037. I actually think that number is going to happen faster, with how quickly everything's going. But these are really big numbers. And this, the last stat, 60%. This is a McKinsey study that was done in 2024. It's the percentage of large financial institutions or institutions that are already using AI to cut costs in their lending operations. That number, again, is 2024, so it's probably, it could even be, 95% today. What we're seeing in speaking with a lot of alternative lenders is that number is low in terms of adoption. And that presents an opportunity for those who want to, step into, get their foot in the, feet wet with implementing AI. And the next few slides, we'll talk about the tools that are out there today that you all can leverage.
And I just want to touch on the fact that we've got, this 800-pound gorilla in there. We were talking about this yesterday, Nam, with the acquisition of Figure for Kiavi, right? And so, they're a completely data-forward technology company that are looking to move into the private lending space. And so the problem with most lenders is that if they're very large, they have outdated tools, and they have a huge process that takes them to onboard any new vendor. I've been through it, and so I can tell you that it takes weeks to months, and even then they're slow to adopt. And so smaller shops and smaller businesses can adopt right now and increase market share, and that's what I recommend. And we're going to leave you with 3 things that you should do, regardless of the rest of this presentation. We're going to leave you with 3 things at the end of this that we would like you to do so that you can start gaining market share.
Yeah, and just to touch on what you were mentioning, so Figure, they're a new sort of blockchain-powered, AI-powered HELOC lender, and 2 weeks ago or so they acquired Kiavi, for $800 million. They want to bring DSCR into the, blockchain-native, AI-native originations and capital markets, which should be, a wake-up call for anyone doing DSCR loans. The flip side of that, though, is that I actually think there's more opportunity than ever for private lenders to make strides and gain market share, especially those who leverage AI over the next 5 years or so. There's a lot of commoditization going on in the space for that sort of vanilla type DSCR loan, which is what Figure and Kiavi are going to be focused on. But that leaves a lot of room for private lenders who are focused on sort of niche products to really be able to capitalize on some opportunities that will come up.
Okay, we just know that the threat there is real, and these are the tools to use to mitigate it. Uh, part of my background, I also wanted to mention that our forward flow company was an NVIDIA Inception backed. We've spent over $100,000 on GPUs specifically, and on AWS, and so we've been in the AI space pretty heavily. Like I think of myself as an engineer first, but business is what I'm engineering, business success outcomes. And what I found is that there are three things which are necessary for any business to grow rapidly. And that's to find new opportunities, to reach those opportunities, and then to retain those. And in particular with lending, as we stepped into the space, we discovered that there's really two simple portals. There's either business partners, who are people who are looking for funding, and you want to be able to find who the big fish are, right? The people who have a need or right? A needs particularly for what you offer. The reach, which platform that you can contact them on, whether that's email, text message, phone call. Probably all of this is right now in an Excel spreadsheet for your salespeople who are calling. And then how do you follow up with those people? And so this is the life cycle that we find. An alternative lender will find somebody either through an event and they'll email them and they'll start a conversation, and what they end up doing is just sending a list of the transactions that they've got to them via an email. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's all over the industry, especially for smaller shops. If you're doing direct to borrowers, you need to know who's owned or bought. You need to know that lead flow so that you can find investors. And once you've found them and you know that these are people who are going to be a perfect fit for your loan products, it takes at least 8 touches. And what I mean by that is, just like Nam said before, a 21% conversion rate if they're contacted within the first 5 minutes. But similarly, we know that 70% of people who are going to transact will answer the phone within 8 touches, whether that's email, SMS, text message, or phone call. It's going to take at least 8 touches. And we found that over millions of records. I can say this exhaustively. It's not just a research fact that I have found on Google. I'm telling you firsthand in my experience over the past 4.5 years on millions of records that it takes at least 8 touches. And of the people who are going to convert, 70% of them convert after 8 touches. And once we've done that, then finally you need to close and keep the deal. And what I mean by that is that a short-term real estate investor who wants a fix and flip is definitely going to be looking for another one in 3 months, or maybe it's 18 months before they find another target. We're going to show you some tools that you can direct them to so that they might increase how often they're going to invest. But my question for you is, how do you find, reach, and retain your customers? And if you start thinking about it in these two channels, which you probably already are, great. Now what tools do you use to do that? Which brings us to our next slide. This is just briefly a summary about who the categories of the people are that you'd be looking for. Nam, do you have anything else that you wanted to add here? Just that we have partners, we're looking for partners who need capital, or just investors who need to buy real estate, or just regular B2C.
Yeah, I would add in there that you also have your consumers who are looking for short-term, capital to buy their next home before they've sold their current home. Whether it's for their primary residence, or in the example of like a reverse 1031 exchange. I mean, that is an investor scenario, but we have lenders who also focus on consumer loans, short-term bridge loans. So add that to the mix as well.
Okay, so these are the tools. Let's just start with find. Of the find, reach, retain, you'll see handily indicated right here at the top of the screen. For just partners, how are you going to find new partners? Well, these are the tools that we've found which are relatively new that are very effective, and I want to share them with you. These are what our platform used. This is what we integrate into our system that we serve to other lenders. But if you wanted to do exactly that, these are the tools that I recommended. Why? The first tool, if you want to find somebody who's a loan officer, a real estate agent, a mortgage originator, or an investor, or a real estate investor, you can use RocketReach to do that. RocketReach is a platform that combs public data and subscription data and uses all of that to just give you one portal where you can put in job titles, city locations, number of years in business. All of that is readily available. If you're looking for real estate investors, you can simply add that as a title, and RocketReach will find through its intelligent search hundreds, if not thousands, of those examples so that you can find people and reach out to those people. If you haven't checked out RocketReach, I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's a new tool to us. They've been around for a couple of years, and this portal has exploded. And it's really only limited by your imagination for what you can find and who you can find. Lookups are cheap. You can search people nearly for free. You get like tens of thousands of lookups for free. And by buying leads are pennies. And so if you need contact information for a well-qualified business partner, I highly recommend RocketReach. The second tool that I'd recommend is Model Match. Model Match is something that's on our roadmap to integrate with. It'll take us probably the next couple months to get the same data since they don't connect with us with software. But what Model Match allows you to do is to see the exact type of loans and volume that loan officers have done and that real estate agents have participated in. And so if you're looking for somebody who's had a large volume of DSCR loans, or if you're looking for a fix and flipper, somebody who's got connections with investors, use Model Match. You literally just log in, create a portal here. It's like less than $100, and you can search and find your target audience. You can download that and add them to your email list, or you can directly start cold calling. And so both of these are a great way for you to find the people that you're looking for and then evaluate whether or not they're a good fit.
Just to add to that too, I mean, ForwardFlow is not paid through any partnership with RocketReach or Model Match. That's just who we see as best in class.
Who we use. This is the data that we use.
Yeah.
And so we've chosen that, and I want to recommend it.
Yeah, no, and I can tell you from past experience, like we've gone out and purchased lists, and we've with different levels of success. So something like RocketReach or Model Match has been superior to what at least I've found in the past. Before we go into the next slide, just want to reiterate, if people have questions, to type them into the chat. So I'm just keeping track of any chat questions that come in, and again, we'll answer them towards the end of the presentation.
I know there's somebody in here who's looking at the spreadsheet crossed out, and one of two things is happening. Either you're personally offended, or you can think of somebody that lives in their spreadsheet and you're laughing about it right now. Okay, once we've found our people, what do we do to reach them? All right, you know that the common channels where we've got cold call, SMS, email, LinkedIn. Quick question: how many of you are actively doing business connections through LinkedIn? I would love to know. This is crucial information for us. We would just like to know generally in the market. I think that every lender that we've spoken with is on LinkedIn and has LinkedIn campaigns, but I'm very curious to hear if any of that's working for you. And then finally, if any of you are actually using direct mail right now for business connections or business to consumer connections, I would love to know that. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah, okay, all right. So so you are using LinkedIn. Great. Direct mail, we don't see a lot of, but the question that I want to leave you with here when you're trying to reach people, whether it's on LinkedIn or you're calling, the one question that we need in order to grow the business for our customers is, what deals can they close with you that they can't close anywhere else? If you're doing business to business, what is it that you offer a business partner like a loan officer, or what is it that you offer a consumer like an investor that they can specifically do with you? Is it a no doc? Is it a no doc loan? Is it the credit score? Is it the speed to delivery? Like, what is your differentiator? And I'm sure that all of you have that lined up, but the question for you is, how are you delivering it on each one of these platforms? And if you're delivering it on this platform, is that the answer that's working? Is this the question that's working? And if that question's working, if it's not working, how do you change it? Which platforms are working and what content is working? And that's largely what we need to know. I think so. Having one exuberant user on LinkedIn, I think, is great. Okay, and so next, let's cover email.
Yeah, so cold email. This is something that I think we all get in the bad habit of doing, which is using our existing CRM or a solution like MailChimp or Constant Contact, which, all three of those, CRM or any of the two I just mentioned, they're meant for curated lists, for opted-in lists, right? And the challenge is we get into this habit where it's like, hey, I'm just going to import a list that I acquired. We'll send out cold emails to these people who we don't have a relationship with. And what happens is, we all know what happens, hopefully, is that impacts our deliverability, because inevitably a percentage of that cold list reports you as spam or opts out, or, that that is impacts your deliverability to leads and contacts that you know. And so two other companies that ForwardFlow, Dennis has found that do a really good job of cold delivery, keeping your databases separate between people and cold outreach, are Smartlead and Instantly, and they do a really good job of delivering emails to cold lists. And what's the open rate? I think that you were mentioning, Dennis.
70%. 70%
Okay.
open rate, which is unheard. I've run hundreds of email campaigns. I'm not particular to email campaigns, but I've run hundreds of email campaigns, and in my experience, an open rate of 40% is incredible. An open rate of 12% is going to get you business. An open rate of 40% is incredible. With cold leads that we've never spoken with before, sending this out, and in fact, we even did this for this webinar, using Smartleads. That's our primary partner that we integrate with. Again, we're not sponsored by them in any way. I'm simply telling you we're a paying customer for them. They're not endorsing, we're not endorsing them for a payment. Smartleads has given us the ability to buy a warmed up email domain. So you protect your domain if you do get spam, and you can simply send a list. There's for each email box that you buy, you'll get 15 cents per day per email box. And so for $100 a month, you can send hundreds, almost thousands of emails per month, which are going to arrive in the mailbox with probably a 70% open rate, depending on your content and what your taglines are. Instantly is a similar platform. If you're not using either one of these, if you have large lists of potential leads that you want to contact and you want to make sure that your email lands directly in their mailbox, I'm talking like actual eyeballs on an email, right? Which is gold. In the marketing world, getting an email to land and getting somebody to look at it is gold. And I'm telling you that you can get 70% open rate with Smartleads at a low cost. Instantly, we ran through, it's just a little bit longer of a process, but both of these are really cheap. And then once you've got somebody opted in, tools like MailChimp and Constant Contact, we also use SendGrid for this. But those are the tools that you use for long-term email blasts. So if you've got deals that you've closed and you want to stay in front of lenders in your area and make sure that you're top of mind and they know what kind of deals you do, that's when you push them over to MailChimp or Constant Contact. But for somebody you've never seen before, it's Smartleads to get their peepers on it. Okay, and retain.
Yeah. So this is near and dear to my heart. This is something that I felt like at our past company is something we did well. Just props to our marketing director at the time. He was really good about being, consistent with the campaigns of outreach. But essentially, this is something that a lot of companies forget, and a lot of loan officers forget, a lot of salespeople forget to do, which is staying in touch with people after the fact, or communicating to your database on your successes. Staying top of front of mind, top of mind on the radar of people who you've done business with or who you want to do business with. And it's one touch point that I think a lot of sales organizations, besides lending, just any organization where there isn't consistent follow-up, and it's part of that 8-point, touch points that Dennis mentioned earlier. This is not new. Like, the sales processes that we talk about today are not new. It's how you can manage it using different tools and AI that I think is really changing the opportunity to do this consistently, because it's more accessible and cheaper than ever to be able to manage a sales funnel and manage your operations leveraging these tools as well as AI. But people forget. You in 2 weeks, you go to a conference, you meet somebody like I mentioned earlier, you make a connection, and then that connection tapers off, and I know for me, I met a lot of people at conferences and said, wow, this is great. I need to remember you the next time I have this situation. 6 months goes by and I go, who was it that did that, whatever it was, that offered bridge loans, that offered reverse 1031 exchanges, that offered that DSCR loan program? It's like, people don't remember. But if you can memorialize it using the right tools, then you can have these systems automated. And that's the point we wanted to make with this slide, is that we all know that we lose sight of, who does what in our business, because it's just hard to stay on top of that, especially if you're using spreadsheets.
Yeah, I just wanted to go out on a limb here, and I tried this. I'm not gonna pick on you guys directly, but I did pick two of you out of a crowd, and I was like, I'm willing to bet right now all of your historical transactions are on your websites, and in fact they are. So first, I just popped over to Ray Green here. I just want to show you this. So, right. So I know that these are over here, Ray Green, and then Harbor Lending also. Okay, great. You've got this content right here on your website. And I bet dollars to donuts that you have an email campaign that's going out, or if you don't, you should, so that your email campaign should go out with this content directly in front of those lenders. And if you have that program set up where you can just pull these from your website, dump it in an email, and send it out to MailChimp, that's how you maintain top of mind. And I mean, I don't have to go through everybody's website, but I'm willing to bet that 90% of you have your current transactions on your website, because it's the best top of mind proof that you can give to somebody. And so we recommend automating that and then sticking that in the mail chain if you already haven't. And I'll just bring back up the share real quick and we'll continue. Great. Okay. So that's what we've covered for retain there. All right. For borrowers. We've got this is a lovely thing to talk about, because we were just looking at websites. Nam, you want to start us off here?
Yeah, I mean, your clients come from multiple channels, whether it's your website, it's through organic, through SEO, through paid placement. People come to your website, or chat, email, what have you. Those are your leads, and that's one way to generate your top of the funnel. The other way is to go out and acquire leads, and you can do that through like Connected Investor or Bigger Pockets, or there's Property Alpha as well, that can be paid for play, I guess, in a way. You should explore all of those, because you need to have some diversity in how you generate your leads. One thing I want to note about through your website is, Dennis and I were debating whether or not to do and show you guys how you can create a new website using Claude today in really a fraction of the time and a fraction of the cost. And if anyone's interested, then we can host another webinar and actually run through live how to create a new website. You all can do it today, and I would urge anyone who hasn't freshened up their website in like a year to do so, because agentic or AI agents are going to overtake humans in terms of search, and how they search is very different than how humans search websites or type in keywords or do Google search. The way Google indexes pages is different than the way AI reads websites. So, as we talk to different lenders and we do an analysis, we're seeing a lot of websites that are outdated, and I think it's an easy fix to update them, and also you can just command, do iterations in minutes again, versus outsourcing to a web dev company to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'll just jump in there. Usually the technical hang up is, all right, great, I had AI build me a website. Now how do I get it on my domain? And that's things that we'd cover in the webinar. If you guys are interested, just drop some messages here. If there is interest and you guys would like to go through that session, we'd love to have that webinar. If you're not interested, obviously we understand. But I think that it's a really exciting time to see how those tools can speed up delivery and make your website more appealing and also more searchable, like Nam said. And the last thing that I want to add here is that Connected Investor and Bigger Pockets only sell certain regions. And so if you want to purchase a lead source, like I just know that large shops like CV3 are buying hundreds of these, but they also have a 15-person call center that's ready to answer those leads immediately. And so they can afford to do that because they're very likely to be the first person that calls that lead. That's why they convert. But if you're not yet registered as a lender of record with Connected Investor or Bigger Pockets, if you're interested in that market share, I encourage you to reach out early so that you can guarantee that you're on the list of vendors in your area because they have limited seats. It's just I didn't know that, and I don't know that every lender knows that there is a cap. And so two things. One, if you choose to buy the leads there, know that they're going to sell them to other people at the same time. So speed to lead matters. And then just two, that make sure that you get on the list before they close the list in your area.
Yep.
Okay, and then this I can just tell you from lived experience, blood, sweat, and tears. We know for a fact that most shops don't hit 8 touches. But if it's not 8 touches, it's dead. Most people will get 1 call, maybe 2 calls. I can tell you, my girlfriend was just going through this. She's looking to buy a home, and she called 5 loan officers and got called back by one of them. We also call loan officers all day, every day. I spent several hours calling loan officers recently, and the answer rate is less than 10%. I got 1 person on the phone in an hour of straight calling myself, and this was 3 days ago. And so we know that it is crucial to be able to reach your clients on multiple platforms and be available when they're interested. Because like in the age of Zillow and information technology and other people having AI, they can find somebody who will answer the phone almost instantly. And so most businesses land right here in the 1 to 2. We know that from looking at millions of records and having made hundreds of thousands of phone calls. But if you continue past that, right here at number 7, ironically, at 7 touches, 70% of the leads that are going to convert will convert. 70% of the leads that are going to convert will convert. So first, it's speed to lead right up here up front. I mean, I'm not saying that as a joke. Speed to lead. You call within the first 2 minutes. After the first 2 minutes, drop rate, the likelihood that you convert goes way down. But if you're persistent and stay in front of those people, of the leads that are going to close from our records, we know that it's 70% at 7, and we recommend 8 for that final touch. And these are the questions that each of you should know readily about your conversion channels and where you're spending money, what your actual ROI is on growing the business. Forgive me if it's obvious, but which channel actually converts? What time does it convert? Number 2, how often should you make contact on which platforms? And then which paid sources are actually funding deals? These are the questions which we need to know in order to drive ROI. And these are the experiments that we do at Forward Flow to determine where we're contacting them, what we're using to contact them with, the frequency that we're contacting them, and then which ones are actually finally converting. And we live or die by our ability to do those 4 things for our clients. Find out which is working, when, with what platform, and how often, and then finally which ones are actually closing. This is, please.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. So retaining borrowers, close them and then keep them. So, with Lightning Docs, that's... Yeah, that's right. So awesome with Property Alpha. So retaining clients, especially those who are working with repeat borrowers like investors. With Lightning Docs, obviously you have that information about the loan you did for them, and that information you could pull from Lightning Docs into whatever CRM system or outreach system that you have, and you could see what kind of loan it was that you put them in. Property Alpha is a great tool for staying in touch with borrowers. Essentially, it's a portal for them to research investment properties, and that's a great way to connect and stay top of mind with those investor borrowers. And then there's a tool. I mean, this is all obviously in conjunction with the touch points that Dennis mentioned earlier. The last one is Valbot, which is a tool that Forward Flow created. I don't know if is that something you're gonna share, Dennis?
We're just gonna bring
But again, these are all tools that you can use. They're not AI specific, but they're just tools that we found to help you, stay in touch, provide value, provide data for your clients, and to keep you top of mind. AI can pull this all together as well as do the outreach, but we want to share what we found out there in the marketplace that we actually use. The Forward Flow actually uses in their operations.
And I can tell you that what we use for the data behind here is a data source called Deal Dash, or Deal Machine, it's Deal Machine. So we use Deal Machine and we use AI and we put together these reports. There's a few other tools that are put in here, but if you're looking to put together a report like this off of public data so that you can send actual financial balance information to your previously closed clients, give them a sexy report that they're interested in opening up every month, there's two other services that also provide this. There's HomeBot and Fellow, Fello. Both of those services will give you a report that looks almost exactly like this, and they're using similar data sources. This way, people who've done a transaction with you and own a property, they're getting all the actionable information that they need in order to do a reinvestment, to sell, or to get a home equity line. And so this is a tool that we use for our clients to give to loan officers so that loan officers have something they can send to their clients. So they have another reason to speak to our lenders. We just sweeten the deal, if you know what I mean. We give them a little honeypot. And so we know that the sellers from working in real estate for 3 years, for working in real estate and making millions of calls, we know that you've got to have something to put in front of the seller. For the buyer, it's property matches and however you can negotiate being the right agent. But here, especially for investors, these are the people who are interested in how the numbers are going to affect them, their business, and their bottom line. And so the rest of the tools here, which I'm sure you're all intimately familiar with because you're all numbers people, right? This is what we put in front of them in a nice way with a great presentation so that they can stay top of mind. And by the way, if those people are interested in a refinance or if they're looking for a short-term loan, we put it directly here in this portal. And so this way, they've got a reason to speak with a lender like you, even though this is being delivered by the loan officer that you're partnering with. So if you're interested in Valbot, we can have a discussion about that. But like I said, there are competitor tools which do an excellent job also. HomeBot was first on the market. Fellow is also quite good. And we just include that with our campaigns. And that boils down to this. So what we found is that in any business life cycle, what I call a business process tree, you've got all this to manage. To find, reach, and retain, you have to find the people, whether it's the spreadsheets of the people that are salespeople on your team, or it's lists that you purchased from a service, or it's an event that you were at and you gathered all of that information has to get put somewhere. And most sales teams are divided. They don't share that information because the salesperson, right, the lender, whoever you hire that's an officer on your team, that person wants to keep that proprietary information for themselves. If you have a divided sales team, I recommend against that approach. What our platform does is separate the information for who's assigned to what so that they can't see each other's information. But as an organization owner, you need to know the numbers of your salespeople so that at the top level, you know which conferences to be sending people to. Fortress coming up in August. I'll see you guys there. Where the information's coming from and which ones are actually converting. And once all that's done, you need to give the tools to your team so that they can stay and have those conversations. The more conversations, the more opportunities, the more closed deals, the better the bottom line. And then finally stay in front of them once you've transacted so that you don't have to continue to pound the pavement for new leads, but you can maximize the amount of return that you're going to get with repeating customers. And so our approach is taking 10 systems labeled here and tying them all together on a single platform. So our system has RocketReach, Smartleads, a dialer, and MailChimp integrated, all with custom integrations. We build this custom for each one of our clients depending on where their data sources are, but we offer RocketReach and Smartleads to everybody, and then we connect to their MailChimp or their Constant Contact, or they can use our SendGrid to continue to send email. It's an all-in-one platform. You can call from one screen, and if you don't want to make the calls, the AI can make the calls. If you don't want to make the text messages, the AI can make the text messages. And once the AI has got somebody on the line, it can transfer directly to you. And so it's a very simple process for you to use as a salesperson. By the way, this is also my daily driver. When I'm doing sales calls, I'm working through this platform also. So I've built it for people just like me. And so what I do is I keep track of, this is just demo because I can't share other information, but here is an overview page for the overall life cycle for sales. How are we doing? How many transfers have we had? Have we sent any emails? Which leads need attention? All of that gets managed by the AI. All your leads are stored in one simple place. It's easy to recognize who you need to do business with and when, and to assign them to new campaigns. Let's just say that you want to upload a CSV or an Excel spreadsheet that you've got. No problem. The first thing that you do is just click import leads. You can upload that file, which will come directly into the database, Or if you don't have anybody that you're contacting, we've integrated with RocketReach right here. And let's just say that we also want to add, we've got a senior loan officer, a loan officer title. Let's also get an originator in there, and let's just search for Irvine and see what we get. I think there's a few hundred here. Yep, okay, so we found 524 of those leads, right? And if you want to add those now to your database, we're connected directly to RocketReach. You can see on this screen how many people do and don't have contact. All of this is verified by RocketReach. And so the correctness of the phone numbers for us is over 80%. And then LinkedIn also, if you want background information, is also provided. And so you can select as many of these leads as you're interested in. Beep, boop, boop, beep. We'll just add those, throw them in the library. And once they've been added to a library, you can just easily add them to a campaign. You want the AI to start calling? Go ahead and start adding them to the experiment. And what that looks like in our actual working page where I'm having conversations with leads is you just bring these leads up. On the lead, you have all the information in the background. So you as the sales manager or the person who's managing your team can see all of the transactions or all of the interactions that people have had. You can have the AI launch the call directly. If it's an AI run campaign, you want to take it over, you want a human first approach, no problem. Just go ahead and click take over. Sorry, I've got a Riverside bubble in front of my other bubble. You can take over the lead and you can call them directly from the system, right? All of the information and scripting will pop up right here. I've just got placeholders here for now, right? This is all the information that you get for voicemail or for whatever script that you're going to be using. We'll help you engineer those scripts if you don't have those, but it's in one location. And for every lead, we have a preset steps so that you're never missing what the next step is for a lead. And by the way, if a lead has a step which has been missed, they'll pop up right here on your dashboard for leads that need attention. So when you've got somebody who's calling hundreds of leads a day, if they need to know who to follow up with yesterday, it's done for them. It happens right here in this portal. And so this is the best solution that we found for the way that we find, reach, and retain. And we would love to give that to you also. And like I said, we integrate directly with your mail campaigns. And one last thing that I would like to offer everyone who's here, we have this portal. If you're curious about what the AI sounds like and how much control you can have over it, this is our voice testing platform. We use this with all of our clients so that they can listen to which AI we use. We use Google, not a paid partner. In fact, we pay them a good deal. I had a surprise $2,000 bill from Google 3 weeks ago on top of our regular charges. And so these are the voices that are available. There's something like 30 of these. Some of them are quite good. Other ones sound a little story time. But there are two things that you can do with Google that you cannot do with other AI voice providers. And that's that you can give them straight direction on what they sound like here under persona. And I'm going to give you two examples of this right now. This isn't just a visual demo. So let's just take AOD and we'll grab the flat and direct, and I'll just grab the broker lender outreach, and you guys can hear the voice.
Hi, Alex here with Forward Flow. Quick one. Do you have clients doing fix and flip or rental deals that can...
Hey, hang on a second. First of all, we do, but where did you get my information?
Oh, just public records. You mentioned you do have those clients, though. What private lenders are you usually working with?
Well, I mean, I don't know that that's any of your business. Why are you asking?
Well, we can often be a better fit for speed or leverage. I can have our AE send over a broker package and set up a quick intro.
So the ability for the machine to deliver information and overcome objections is already built in. The specifics of your business is also dumped into the phone call. So any questions that they ask, as long as there's something which we can disclose, we're SOC 2 certified. So the AI that we use is both RESPA and TCPA guaranteed. And so you're not likely to have any infractions there. But let's just say that, for instance, you've got a slightly different approach and you want to use a different voice. And so we picked a hustled New York accent. Okay, great. And let's try that same call again, but with a slightly different direction.
Hi, John. Alex with Forward Flow here. Quick one. Do you got clients doing fix and flip or...
And that's how you got somebody who's calling. Maybe you got a little New York accent. Maybe this is your servicing leads. You know, if you don't pay us, we're going to send you to the loan shark. And then I'll pick another voice here to start that call, and maybe we'll pick a more upbeat tone instead. Let's do warm consultative. We'll do warm consultative. How's that?
Hi, this is Alex with Forward Flow. Quick one. Do you have clients doing fix and flip or rental deals that convent?
You sound way too happy for a cold caller, man. Like how much Lexapro are you on right now? So the amount of voices that are selectable here, I would love for you guys to be able to demo this. You can change the scripts. You can test out your own custom scripts. If you're interested, if you're an aspiring Vibe programmer and you want to build your own voice services, you can use this as a testing portal where you can configure the persona and the script so that you have an idea of what your final phone calls will be like. And this is what we work through with all of our clients so that they're confident in what the machine can say, when it says it, and how it says it.
You mentioned loan servicing. So we are talking to a few lenders who want to use some sort of agentic voice for loan servicing calls, and specifically for calling those borrowers who are maybe 10 or 15 days late. Not to negotiate terms or anything, because you can't do that, but just to send a reminder call to a borrower. Because a lot of lenders, their loan officers, the ones who originated the loan with that borrower, are often tasked with making those late payment calls to those borrowers, and it takes away from from new originations. So interesting, in terms of the use cases that are out there for this.
And this is the sales pitch, flat out sales pitch. We won't spend a whole lot of time on it. We're already almost over time, but while we're here,
yeah. So the package is a la carte. Different use cases. You can use CRM, which is pipeline email integrations, or the AI calling and texting. You could use the Forward Flow's workforce, or you can have the Forward Flow team manage all of these. So a la carte is 6,000. Have it managed by the Forward Flow team is 5. And all of the lenders that we've onboarded, that the Forward Flow team has onboarded, have gone with the managed package. So anyway, that's available for you if you're interested. But the main things we wanted to show everyone today are all of the different tools that are out there that any one of you can use, go out and get, just a la carte. And again, none of those are necessarily AI native. They're just all tools that you can use, like RocketReach, as others have done, is they've used Forward Flow to integrate everything, have an AI layer over their operations, including the voice, SMS, and text automation, and campaigns, so that they don't have to do the work themselves. I know that. Having been a lender myself, your head's down in the business. It's hard to take time away to focus on something new. But again, there's a lot of tools out there today that are way better than what you would have found a year ago or 2 years ago. But for this week, the takeaways for everyone, there's 3 things. It's super easy to stand up a new website. So go out there and stand up a cold call domain. So basically a sister domain to your main one, and start warming up today. Start getting the eyeballs to your website, or to a separate website, so you can start generating traffic and leads. Go out there and sign up with different partners for paid leads, or for getting paid leads. Again, like Connect Investor, Bigger Pockets, Property Alpha. There's a number of companies out there that you should be looking at to augment any organic traffic or leads that you're getting, or the traffic that your sales force are getting through their relationships. And then, write your positioning one-liner, what you specialize in, that makes every LO say, okay, this is what I need to contact them for the next time I have this need. All of those things, and then a really, really consistent follow-up. We believe that AI can really augment your follow-up strategy, your lead conversion with your existing database, and any new leads. But again, a lot of these tools are out there for you today to use without us, without Forward Flow.
Yeah, and I just want to add that. I want to add that our workforce, when we call. We have humans calling, we have US-based callers who are also calling, and we just accelerate their workflow with AI. We accelerate how many people are called, how many people are texted, how the email happens, and what information gets pushed to them as an alert, so that instead of them just pounding the phone, right, they're really just answering when they're needed. And that's the whole stack that we've built. That's what we suggest that you do also, is use these AI tools to make the find, reach, retain. And as soon as they've reached somebody, it just gets the human in the loop. Whether that's somebody's on the phone or somebody's answered an email, that's what this whole funnel does, is just tie somebody directly into when they're actually needed. So you don't have to spend as much time, because if you're running a business and you're already managing 100 conversations, do you have the time to find, reach, and retain? And so those tools are out there. And I would love to, since we're just a touch over time here, but I would love to take the rest of the time and get any questions from the audience. Or any opinions, thoughts that you guys have, and if you're interested in some of those follow-up webinars about how to use these tools.
Yeah, one question came up: how to move the contact from Smartlead to Mailchimp, etc., or vice versa. Like, how do you move leads from RocketReach or Smartlead into your existing CRM or contact solution?
Oh yeah, Solomon. I'm sorry, I didn't see that until now, but I'd like to cover that. So let's see. Let's make sure that we still got still in the. Okay, great. Yeah. So what we found is that with Smart Leads, you'll actually buy mailboxes, and you can API through something called Zapier. So if you're in Smart Leads, as soon as somebody has responded, like I would just take your responded and I would Zapier that over to your MailChimp account. So if you haven't used Zapier, Zapier is an integration service. Also, we do this for you. Thanks, Rick. Okay, Rana. Yeah, I get the feeling. We'll also record this and send this to everybody. And so we'll send you the full slide deck if you want to review any of this, and this recording will also be made available to all of you if you want to review. And one thing that I'd like to also extend, if any of you just want to spend an hour, it doesn't have to be a sales meeting, we don't have to talk about our business. But what we would love to do is spend that hour showing you the tools, how you can use the tools, because if we're not enriching each other, then really what are we doing? And I'm confident that some of you will decide that you want somebody to handle this for you. But if you're interested in applying these to yourself, we would love to spend an hour with each and every one of you to show you these tools and how you can develop them. But to connect from Smartlead to MailChimp, I would recommend Zapier. If you already have a CRM system, you can also do a CSV export. And so that's the brute force way to do it. You can just download it from Smartleads and then you can upload it to MailChimp. Solomon, if you want to go through that, we can just have a session and I will literally show you how I'll take it from my account and then put it into another account. And then
Great.
Austin asked to fine-tune the flow model on a corpus of existing lead sales data. Exactly. That's probably one of the smartest questions that you could ask. What we have found when we connect to very large databases, there's call centers like Velocify or Total Expert is also in the lending space. And when we find that our bigger clients who have hundreds of thousands of records, we know by just connecting to that what the best contact frequency is, and we know which lead source and the conversion rates. And so if we can connect to your data source, we can tell you your ROI, your speed to lead, what the frequency cadence should be, which voices that we should use, and when we should be calling. We can do all of that just by looking at your database if we can connect to it. Not everybody has the means for that kind of data, but if you have that kind of data, that means a lot, and we can literally catapult you to what is normally month 2 of our delivery right at the beginning of month 1. So you save yourself thousands of dollars and get way ahead. Spyro, thank you so much. And then Solomon also asked, is there a way that you can run forward flow inside our HubSpot instead? Yes, actually, you don't need to use our CRM at all. In fact, one of our larger big dog clients, they're using Total Expert and Velocify. And so what we do is we connect to that data and run our system completely in that system. We'll just have 20 minutes going over how you want to make sure that we update your information inside HubSpot, and the system runs exactly the same way. We just need to make sure that we're not stepping on your toes, and we need to make sure that we're updating your system correctly. But we can connect to any CRM and provide the same service. And so if you're interested in having us pair with HubSpot, we would love to have that conversation with you and show you what we can do.
Yeah, and as an example, it can pull, like, based on rules, the contacts that out of HubSpot that have a follow-up today. and then make the call, and then write to HubSpot that the call was made, and what was shared, what was communicated. So that's a perfect example. Yeah, good question. Something we'll cover in the future is that you don't need to use the ForwardFlow CRM. ForwardFlow is built to work with most modern CRM systems like HubSpot or Velocify, like you were saying.
Total expert.
Yeah, total expert. Great. Any other questions, folks? No, a lot of good questions. That was a good question, Austin, on can we work with? Yeah, it would be interesting to see what data you're collecting for Property Alpha, and see how that could be that could work with ForwardFlow. But great. We'll send a follow-up email just if anyone wants to jump in and participate in like how to build a website, all of that. Happy to do that. How to connect with, how to use Zapier to connect your different data sources, different databases, and what have you. But a recording of this will be available as well as the slides. So doesn't look like we have any other questions, and we're pretty close to the hour. So appreciate everyone's participation. Thank you so much, and thanks a lot, Dennis, for hosting this. And everyone else, have
Thank
a great
you,
thanks, Sam. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll chat soon, hopefully.
Godspeed, everybody, and take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.